extraordinarily ordinary. It's in the isness of the breath, of seeing, of hearing, of touch, of taste, in all the natural senses. The very isness is what is. And it's also the very isness in those two crazy, I call them senses of thinking and feeling, in which we build stories upon stories upon stories of measurements, and we give, just like deciding where's the best to live, we then give an importance to some information more than others, and then our building becomes more spiritual or more Catholic or more Hindu or more, depending on the importance you give to the data, the information that's being given. Whereas the ocean has no information. It has no data because there isn't any reference. There is no relationship between two things. It is literally an utter silence which is roaring as time and space. But they're not two things. It's simultaneously the form and the formless, time and timeless, meingness and beingness. The same wetness, the same ocean is simultaneously appearing to be both things. But the appearance, the energetic appearance, is not what it appears to be. It's a real energetic measurement of something which is immeasurable. So it's a something and a no thing simultaneously. So this crazy, crazy song comes from some characters. This not two, not two. So what is being looked for has always been the case. That which is looking is it. It's just this energetic, apparent movement we call time and space only exists in movement. It only exists in a movement into something else in time and space. So paradoxically, by its very apparent nature, you just got this isness which is like this, and this apparent movement is always just doing this to move somewhere else, into the next meditation or the next book or the next conversation or the next retreat I go on, or when I can meditate better, or when I can purify myself better. The list goes on and on and on. But the character loves to have lists, loves to have measurements, because it only exists in measurements, in time and space. And it's a bit like an energetic drug addict, because it's built, this apparent separation is built on no thing. It's a bit digital, like zeros and ones, which it's collapsing continuously, so it has to keep rebuilding itself. So it rebuilds itself by more and more lists or measurements, or more and more storying. of a journey somewhere, of a getting, or of a story called losing. Because that's the only way it can replicate itself. Just like the physiology. The physiology can only replicate itself by being fed. So there's billions of years of evolution replicating itself through the process of being fed. And the same, the story of me can only replicate itself by continuously being fed more story. We love stories. The story of my life. But the paradox again for the seeker is that the seeker is looking for its own demise. It's looking for the end of seeking. So the seeker is looking for its own death. So it's in a difficult predicament. So again, because this not to isn't in a relationship with a something, there isn't one thing closer to everything and one thing further away from everything. There's just everything. There's just this ocean appearing as everything. So it has nothing really to comment on whether, like if the character loves to meditate, then that's great, fine. The same song comes through the meditation, not to. Or if he prefers working and making money, fine. Not to. It's not that one thing is closer to everything than anything else. Because it knows there is no something to find. It knows there is no answer. And if we chat and questions come, the isness in the question is the answer. There will be no answer from anything, from my character or any other character. There is no answer. The very isness, the wetness in the asking, the movement of asking a question is what is. And in that question there is almost like, in that isness, a non-question. And it's like the question and the non-question, you see in some characters, suddenly they meet each other and it collapses. The whole thing collapses. The whole of appearance of time and space. Poof. And then it's self-luminously obvious that it was always the case, that there was no separate something that ever left home. So again, this song there's no advice in it. There's no to-do list. It's just a conversation, a song. There's not to.